Hey, welcome back to Evil's Comics. I'm Evil Mike and I got a review for you. From Top Cow Productions and Image Comics, this is Revolvers, issue number 1. It is written by Zuur, Platten, art by Christian DiBari, colors is Simon Gough, and letters is Troy Peteri. This book was excellent and an amazing first issue. The art was superb and the story was chef's kiss greatness. Let's get into it. There's not a lot that's going on, but I can say the first 2 pages might be a little confusing. It was for me, but the book does quickly explain what's going on. But the book sets up that the story takes place in Detroit. That Detroit was once this, Wizard of Oz magistrate metropolis that used to be, and now it's just a faded memory. And But this is where our main character is and the story takes place. Our main character's name is Hampton Wells. He is a detective within the Detroit PD. We know in the beginning that he is a good man but a better cop and not so great a husband. The book does touch base with that a little further on. But this is where it gets a little confusing because we do see our main character. This is his last day alive. Somehow he gets his brains blown out. There's another thing to note. In this same room there's a female that is passed away as well. She is dead with her brains blown out. But then the book goes backwards a little bit and tells the story. So we're catching up with Hampton Wells, and it is like any other day, just like it has been for how long he's been a cop or whatever, but he is being called to a SWAT situation. We find out that he has a partner, supposedly who also got killed on the same day. But his partner name is Big Mike, and they are going out to it's like a warehouse apartment kind of situation, and a drug dealer that they've been looking for a long time is supposedly there. His name is the Python. They kind of go by his Spanish name, Python, or but I'm gonna go by Python. It's a lot easier for me to say. But the SWAT team gets there. They think it's going to be an easy thing. They're getting there bright and early in the morning, hopefully before all these drug dealers are awake or at least kind of druggy. But they quickly find out, and as they go down to bust down the door, that it is a trap, and the Python knows that they're coming. It looks like most of the SWAT team members are kind of taken out right then and there by the explosions that go off, because pretty much the rest of the book we are following Big Mike and our main character Hampton Wells. They quickly make it into the building, and the book kind of does a backwards where it goes earlier, and it kind of sets up a story right here with Hampton Wells and his wife. And it's kind of setting up how he's just a not so great husband. And it's not along the lines of he's a wife beater or he's a drinker or can't control himself. No, it's just more along the lines he chooses the job over his family and life and stuff like that, and that's kind of why he's a bad husband. And that's all we got so far. But in this situation there is something weird to know. The whole conversation, the wife is kind of upset that he's not on the take, that he's not taking bribes or something like that like some of the other cops. Maybe she's not satisfied with their financial situation, something like that. But it's what the book states, that this guy is a loyal cop. He took an oath, he's not going to betray it type thing. There is another thing to note. At the beginning of the raid, we do find out our main character, Hampton Wells, he believes himself like an old school cop, and he is like dedicated to his revolver, which he states can't jam and has a guaranteed 6 shots in it, hence the name of the book, Revolvers. But it does play a bigger part coming up quick. So they jump back to, Mike and Hampton as they are trying to find the Python now inside the building. They end up coming across like a couple low-level thugs and take them out quickly. They do make it to this one room where we find out some weird, creepy stuff. We see some hostages or something like that have been skinned alive. And we find out that they were being made to watch themselves being skinned alive. There's a mirror here. We do find out that they are still alive, somehow being kept alive, but at the same time that this happens, that Hampton Wells also finds out that the mirror was not a one-way, it was a two-way mirror, and a whole bunch of people were watching. And as soon as he sees this, he quickly grabs Mike and himself to duck before they get mowed down. while the guys they were skinned alive, they quickly get taken out. At this point, they kind of get separated briefly. And we've kind of followed Mike for a little bit. He ends up running into a just a regular drug head, drug user that is in the building. He claims that he's not a part of anything that's going on. Mike doesn't necessarily believe him, even though this guy says he's going to take him to the Python. Mike eventually blows this guy's brains out, not willing to, wait to see if this guy was going to trap him or whatever. We do see what happens to Mike, and he ends up running into this guy in like armor or whatever. I mean, not Mike. We do run with Hampton Wells, and he ends up just basically taking out this guy with his revolver. They kind of make apparent, to show that it actually went through some of the guy's armor because he was using the revolver, the 38 Special. In the next room right after that guy, we meet the Python, and he is extra creepy. I love his look and everything. But we find out that he's been waiting for Hampton Wells. Hampton Wells was chosen for some reason, and he is supposed to give him his revolver. He hands out his revolver. Hampton Wells doesn't understand quite what's happening. He's like, wait a minute, you're just giving me the gun. And the guy even explains that, at the end of this day, that Hampton Wells is going to kill him with that revolver. It's like already planned and played out. But the guy quickly runs away, saying that he's going to go see Hampton Wells' wife, trying to coax Hampton Wells into killing him. We do see that Hampton Wells gets some shots off, but it's with the first gun that he had during the book, his revolver. And the guy wants him to kill him with the new revolver that he just gave him. And the guy even laughs after he gets hit with his revolver, like, haha, you're using the 38. But the book goes back as like it's, the chase scene, the guy's getting away, the Python, Hampton Wells, is following him. We kind of see what happens to poor Mike a little bit. And it's basically like, we just see that Mike kind of lost, Hampton, and he ended up back with the other cops, and he doesn't know what happened to Hampton. At this time, it's pretty much the rest of the book is all, Hampton chasing the Python, and we make it back to actual, Hampton Wells' house, and we see that the Python has already made it there and killed his wife. Hampton Wells quickly dispatches the Python. There is like a brief conversation between the Python, but basically after that, Hampton Wells kills himself, and we're now at the beginning of the book. But the guy had mentioned something that he would that wasn't the end or something like that. We do see right here that Hampton is taken to the hospital. It does say his last stop on his last day, but we do see that the hospital tried to resurrect, tried to save his life before he passed away, but we do see that he eventually does pass away. As soon as it looks like it's right before that, the Python shows up and tells him he needs, he forgot the gun, he needs to make sure he can, grab the gun, and basically, he telling him to grab his hand, that he could show him, this other place, and basically what he's supposed to be doing. And he is taken to this place right here as soon as he takes his hand, and I think it is called the mortuarium. But in the mortuarium, it is explained that it's something different. It's not exactly heaven or hell. But as soon as we get here, the Python just says like that the show's about to start, and it kind of looks like past sins are popping up, because like somebody that does pop up is a character that Hampton Wells knows and has killed before, and is basically instructed by the Python to kill him with the new revolver, and he does. And then he mentions something important. We don't get an explanation on it, but the Python mentions that the guy will revolve after he shoots him, and as soon as he does, and we kind of see him, like it looks like he comes either back to life or time resets itself, something like that. I'm gathering that's what the revolve part is. But basically he shoots him again. The Python mentions that there's going to be a lot more action coming up. We do get to meet this weird thing that they showed in the background called the gyre. I think the gyre has something to do with like it's eating souls or something like that. I because it said something about the dead. It's the only place the dead get to sleep, but it's also the most like painful or something like that. So it kind of sounds like this thing's eating them. But that's basically where this book leaves off. Basically that that there's some stuff coming, a lot of action, that kind of thing. But that's pretty much it. There's no like preview to the next issue or anything like that. My thoughts is I don't know, like I kind of have a feeling where this book is going. I don't know. There for me there wasn't enough information to go off like the Revolve thing. I'm hoping it's like some crazy cool, like when he kills these things they come back to life or something like that. Like because on the gun, I didn't go into it, but on the gun on one side it does say truth, on the other side it does say pain. But all I can say is I love the first issue. It was a great, every panel, it was quick to read. My mind was going like a million miles a second as we were going into it, especially in the beginning trying to figure out what was going on. But it wasn't a bad thing. Usually it is for me. In this case, it was a really good thing because it was explained very quickly what was going on. But hey, those are my thoughts. I can't wait for the second issue. Let me know down below. Did you pick up this book? What did you think about the first issue? If you did pick up the book, or after seeing my whole review, what do you think? What do you think is going to happen? I have not really a good idea of what's going on, where we're going from this point. But I can say it's very interesting. But that's my review. Please like, comment, subscribe, tell your friends about me, and I will let y'all go. I will see y'all later. I got another couple of reviews coming up, and that's all I got.